Hey everybody, it's me, Katie, and I am going to go over a really quick training that I provided to my team a little bit earlier in the week that really I think helped them get an idea of how to share your story when it comes to social media. Now, as a Beachbody coach, it is really important that we do share why we're doing this, what got us involved in this business, and why are we so passionate about it. And a lot of times it's difficult in the beginning to figure out how to go about sharing your story, sharing who you are and your past and your present and your future, all that good stuff. So I wanted to do a quick recording in regards to the training I provided to my team. Hopefully it will help you all with your building of your business and leaving crumbs as you build your story on social media. So really quick, when it comes to your story, I like to break down a couple of things that are really important. And I actually got these top three from our coach summit in Nashville this past year. And I love them and I have them written down all over the place because it's really important, I think, to realize that trials can be your triumphs, that your struggle is a huge part of your story, and that your mess, even though you may think it's awful and nobody wants to know, is your message. So those three things are very important. And I have a call to action here that I want you to do after you're done listening to my training here. And I want you to write down the trials, the struggles, and the mess or messes that you've had in your life. Just jot them all down. It doesn't matter how little you think that they are or as huge as you think they are. I want you to write them down because that's going to help you start brainstorming how to go about sharing who you are and what you have to share with those individuals out there that are watching you, that are hopefully being inspired by you and want to eventually join your team or team up with you to get healthier in their own life. So my process when it comes to sharing information is a three-step process. And I think it's pretty simple, which is why I wanted to make sure that you guys knew this process and hopefully you can adapt it to your own business. Number one, the first step is where you've been. Number two, where you are now. And number three, where you are going. It's pretty much a timeline of your life. And if you break it down in those three steps, that's going to help you share and breadcrumb your story in a really simple, foolproof way. Now, when we talk about where you've been, let's talk about what things should come up when it comes to those topic areas. Number one, trials. Like we already mentioned, those trials, those struggles, those hot messes, those are the really important tidbits of our story that make us relatable to other people. You know, all too often Beachbody coaches give the illusion online that they are perfect and they never do anything wrong and nothing bad ever happens and they never cry and they never have a cheat meal and they never do this and that. And that's just not true. We all know it. So stop pretending if you're doing it. We all have had trials. We all have had huge struggles and we are all hot messes. Some of us more than others. And some of us every single day we go through these and that's okay. So like I mentioned before, write those down, but those are a really important part of where you've been because they've shaped who you are now. Think about turning points in your life. You know, I think about the biggest turning point for me when it came to joining this opportunity and getting started with my own health and fitness. And it was a day where I had actually put on the last pair of pants that I had in my house that did not have an elastic waist that fit, and they barely were fitting me. I mean, I was looking like a busted can of biscuits in that pair of pants. That's a turning point for me. That's something that makes me say, I need to do something different. So think about those moments. Think about the feelings associated with it. Maybe it was just you felt terrible being in a picture, or you felt terrible going to an event where you had to wear a dress and your arms were exposed and you weren't comfortable. Think about those things. Really dig deep to where you've been in your past and how you felt to make you want to change. Think about those events that you had to go to or that you skipped, that you didn't feel your best at, or that you regret not being able to be a part of because of something holding you back. And think about those things that made you question what you're doing. You know, maybe you were somebody that drank a lot like I used to do, and you would drink and drink and drink, and you're thinking, well, I know this is good for my health. I know I need to do something more. Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I spending this money? Why do I wake up feeling like garbage? Why am I eating a McDonald's Big Mac when I know it's going to make me so sick to my stomach? Think about those things, guys. Those are all important parts of where you've been that can help shape your story. Where you are now, this is, we're talking right now, guys, in the present. We're talking about the small victories, the non-scale victories, the things that you overcame to get to this point right now in time as you are watching this little training video of mine. What got you here? Did you lose some weight? And it doesn't have to be a huge goal. Maybe you had a goal to lose 50 pounds and you've only lost 5 of those so far. You're making progress. That's a great victory. Maybe you finally fit into a pair of pants that aren't elastic waist and you're excited. That's a non-scale victory. That we are talking about life changes. We're talking about moments of pride. Maybe it's for the first time ever. You looked in the mirror and you felt really good about yourself. Think about those aha moments that made you say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm where I am at right now." Biggest aha moment for me, guys, was the day I stepped on the scale at the end of my very first 60-day challenge when I realized how much weight I have lost, which I'll talk about in a second. But that to me is a moment that when I think about this whole journey, whether it be right now at this moment in time, or I think about it 10 years down the road, that is an aha moment for me, that moment when I stepped on that scale. And we're all going to have those in some aspect. So think about it, think about what they are. And the most important thing is to always go ahead and share how Beachbody came into your life and how Beachbody helped you with those areas. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a second, again, a little bit more in detail. But where you're going is the future. We all come into this because we all have goals. We have things that we want to achieve. And that probably was going on before you even became a coach. So when you're talking now about goals, they don't have to all be health and fitness related. Obviously it's a big part of it. But when it comes to health, maybe you want to eat obviously 80% of the time clean instead of, you know, not much at all. When it comes to fitness goals, maybe you want to complete a certain program. Maybe you want to reach a goal weight. Maybe you want to do something like me, that is try out for American Ninja Warrior and do pull-ups and be, complete badass when it comes to what you're doing. It could also be personal goals. It could be financial with your business. It could just be something like becoming a stay-at-home mom, being able to spend more time with your family, whatever you want it to be. Think about those vision board items. If you do not have a vision board, I am strongly encouraging you for an additional step of homework to go and create one, because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. You're not just going to shoot from the hip and suddenly make these great things happen. You need to have a clear vision, and that's going to help you share your story of where you're going so others can hopefully join you on that journey. Any kind of goal that your audience can relate to, that's where you're going. That's what you want to be talking about. This post here, guys, is the first post that I actually shared publicly when it came to my story. And I want to just back up for a second, because in regards to my coaching story, when I became a coach, I initially signed up for a discount like most of us did, and I had no intention on really doing anything with the business. I would talk about things here or there. I was all about saving money, and I really didn't think that my challenge group, the 60-day group that I had decided to do, would ever amount to anything. Honestly, I didn't think I would finish it. I didn't think that I would ever lose weight. I just bought the program on a whim and figured I would probably quit after a couple days, but guess what? I didn't. So when I finished the first challenge group, which was 60 days using T25, I had lost 47.5 pounds, which you can see right there on that picture. That was actually my first photo I took, and then the one that I took the day I weighed myself in for the final weigh-in. When I weighed myself in, I realized I lost that amount of weight. I really wanted to get more involved in coaching. I wasn't really sure how I was going to be able to fit that in with my schedule, because I worked a crazy job at that time. So I really didn't get on board and get crazy with the coaching aspect really until after the first of the year. It was around Christmas time, January 1st. 2014, that I decided to get into this and really start rocking it out. And it took me until April-ish time frame when this post came up for me to actually share my story, which is one of the biggest regrets that I have in this business, is not taking advantage of it sooner. But like most people, guys, we're nervous, right? We're scared. We don't want to share everything about us because we're worried we're going to be judged. It's very common. Don't worry. If you feel that way, you're not alone. I did too. I didn't want to drop some things that could possibly hurt other people. For example, my past came from me gaining all of this weight from a very poor diet of fast food every meal, totally abusing alcohol like it was nobody's business, to, not working out, just really totally changing overall, being a depressed, horrible person that was pretty much a recluse, which was not the way that I was at all. And when you start talking about sensitive subjects, which a lot of us have issues with, especially something like any kind of alcoholism or issue with that, sometimes it's difficult to share in a post because we don't want to hurt our loved ones. I remember a couple of weeks back, my mom actually just brought up to me, something came up in regards to alcohol, and now I don't drink at all, period. But there was a discussion that came up about it. And she said to me, "Oh, you didn't really drink that much, did you, back then?" And I said, "Mom, I don't think you realize how bad it was." And that was something that I was trying to shelter her from for a long time, because I didn't want my parents to see this stuff on social media and feel like they were a failure or feel like they did something wrong, because it had nothing to do with it. And a lot of times with our loved ones out there, we want to hide it. But what we don't realize, and the one thing that it finally clicked in my brain to make me share this post, was that the amount of people I could help was far greater by any means than the few people that I was worried that might be upset with me. Because I knew that in time they would understand if I could talk to them. And if people were hating on me, guess what? Bye, Felicia. I don't care. So I decided to post this post. It took me probably an hour, 2 hours to press publish when I finally wrote it up. But I followed that process that I shared with you earlier. And I really had thought out how I wanted to plan this because I am an English major. I know all about sharing stories. I know all about different, aspects of that. And I really wanted to make sure if I was going to put myself out there with some pictures that I was not exactly proud of. For example, the August 25th one makes me just want to cry when I look at it because I remember how I felt. I wanted to make sure if I'm sharing this that I'm getting a point across to people and people are listening. So if you look at how I broke it down here, step number one, when I talk about where I've been, I don't get into a lot of detail here. I talk about that I was somebody that was miserable. I was eating like crap and I was drinking booze like it was my job. I was not consistent with workouts and my personal life was crumbling around me. And I didn't go into too many details, but I gave enough details for people to realize there was some kind of thing going on with alcohol. I wasn't eating right and I was very unhappy. My personal life was a hot mess. And guess what? Probably 99% of people could relate to one of those areas. Again, you don't want to go into too much detail because that whole diarrhea of the mouth thing, that's not going to be good for anybody because if you get too much at any time, then it's going to be overwhelming. You want to think about this when you're sharing your story as a first date. And think about the first time you went on a first date with a significant other. If you're single, think about it now with your own personal life. When you go out there, do you tell them the whole kit and caboodle on the first date? No, you most certainly don't. You don't share those single, behaviors you do. Like maybe you like to, you know, put on these weird face masks and put on a Garfield t-shirt and binge watch Jersey Shore. You don't want to give them all of those things in the beginning. You want to ease them into it so they know that they can trust you and they like you and before you start, sharing all of that. It's very common and you have to approach it the same way when it comes to your posts. So a little bit at a time, trust me, that's the way you want to go about doing it. Now, when it comes to the post number two, or the second part of this, the process, I talk about where I am now. And at that moment, that was me. That was me after a challenge group. I was 45 pounds lighter. Actually, it was 47 and a half pounds I lost in that 60-day time frame. I was so much happier and I had gained back the confidence that I had lost. So when it comes back to why I'm doing this, how Beachbody came into my life, guess what? It was because I started doing this group and I was able to get this confidence back, which again, a lot of people struggle with confidence. So that's something that I'm relating to them with right there. The third part, where I'm going, I combined 2 and 3 to talk about how passionate I am because Beachbody has given me this physically, financially, and emotional opportunity that I'm being able to make a career out of where I'm actually able to help other people do the same thing. So I'm setting an expectation there with my goals that I've got goals when it comes to finances, emotionally, physically, any of those areas are things that people can have goals with. And I'm sharing that I can help people too. In the final part there, if you just kind of scroll down to the little bit that's still on the screen, I share that it's not about, someone that is in their perfect shape. It's fitness fanatics that stay-at-home moms. It's a little bit of everything that's going on here. And my goal is to help as many people as possible to get out there and experience that. This post, guys, I think I got 250 some likes off the top of my head. I can't remember. A lot of likes. A lot of people then started to come to me. And guess what? That's when my business exploded. So that's what you want to make sure that you're focusing in right there is sharing those details that are going to draw people in and realize you're legit. You did this, it worked for you. You're proud of the fact that you did it. And that the reason why this happened to you is because Beachbody came in some way, shape, or form. You have a story of how this came into your life. So you want to talk about that. So how do you storytell? Again, some of this information I've gotten from different resources. When I was at Summit, one part that was discussed there was about how it's important to reveal your story in chapters and not all at once. And that goes back to the whole diarrhea of the mouth thing, which is a very common statement that I make all the time. And that's just not letting it all go. Like I said with the first date analogy, you want to give it away in chapters. Think about it. You want to kind of calculate how you're going to talk about it in a way that's comfortable to you. If you're comfortable with one aspect of your story, but not comfortable with another one, that's okay. Share what you are comfortable with so you could talk about it with that confidence and that passion, and then move on to another aspect in time when you have an opportunity to address it with a little bit more confidence or you're just ready to bring it out. It's more like short stories. You want it to be a little bit of where somebody wants to keep reading, and if you read a good short story, you come back, you want to read more. You want the sequel, you want whatever's coming to it. So give them enough to make them want to follow your progress and see where you're going and what's going on. And then you want to touch base on the past, present, and future in every single post. Like I already mentioned to you, it's really important. You don't want to just throw out there this crazy story about what happened to you and all these hot messes and not wrap it up with anything that could be relevant to whoever's watching or listening to your posts or reading it. You want to make sure that there's some way for them to connect this with the opportunity with Beachbody and still be able to see how it has changed you as a person. That's the most important thing. You've got to make it come full circle. Couple tips when it comes to sharing your story. You need to be real, relatable. You do not need to be striving for perfection. The biggest mistake, I already mentioned it once in this call and I'll say it again because it's that important. The most important thing with being a coach is to realize that you are a real person. Don't act like you're perfect, because guess what? People are not going to come to you. They're going to be afraid that you're going to be, judging them if they do make a mistake. They're going to be afraid that you're going to hold them to a standard that's unrealistic. You want to be that real, relatable person so that they know, hey, guess what? Katie had these issues. She fell off the wagon. She had to have 5 pieces of pizza that one day. She said it's okay. She got back on the horse. She can do it. I can do it too. You want them to believe in you, trust you, and form that relationship. And no one's going to do that if they see perfection. Trust me, I won't. You won't. And if you tell yourself you would, you're probably lying to yourself. You need to be real. Get comfortable with your story, but change up how you're sharing it. You don't want to say the same things over and over and over again, because guess what? Then people are going to stop listening. Don't share the same photos over and over and over again. Find different ways to share it, different aspects. I have showed those pictures I shared earlier with you guys in a variety of different ways. And it's always different when it comes to the text. I'm not just doing the same thing over and over, but I'm making it specific. I'm making it personal to people. And I'm trying to make sure that they see that different things have come into my life that have changed me, that have added to my success. But the number one thing that has happened to me is me becoming a coach and me buying that program and me making the first step towards a journey of health and happiness. That's where that sharing the success comes in. You want to share how things have happened to you and how you have made them happen in a positive way. You do not want to just leave it out that, oh, guess what? I lost 60 pounds, and not tell them how you did it. You need to share those secrets to your success, because guess what? Others are going to follow you and others are going to want to be doing the same thing that you're doing too. Share lessons that you've learned along the ways. I'm constantly, guys, trying to share with people things that I did when I screwed up, things that I could do better, things that can help them. It's all about adding value to people. And that's with every post that you do, you should be trying to add value, but especially when you're talking about your story and the options that you have to share that with an individual, for them to take the same steps you've taken. You want to share the lessons to help them. And again, you always want to connect Beachbody to the post. If not, you're missing a golden opportunity to invite them to join you on this journey. Couple final thoughts, guys. You want to be intentional when it comes with your posts and create opportunities to connect. When I say that, when I say be intentional with your posts, you want to make sure that you are giving them a reason to tune back in to what you're doing, and you want to make sure that it's a very well thought out post. You don't just want to fly by the seat of your pants when it comes to sharing your story, because it might not come across right, or later you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I would have said this. You really want to make sure that you're sharing it in the right way, and you want to create that opportunity to connect. When I say an opportunity to connect, you want to give them a reason to message you. So a lot of times at the bottom of those posts, I'll say, hey, if you feel the same way I did in the beginning, you feel hopeless, you feel like there's no way you can ever change what you're doing, message me. I want to talk to you and share what I did. So at least, if nothing else, I'm inviting you to message me and let's talk. Sometimes I'll invite you to the challenge group. That could be a part of a challenge group post invite. So you're actually being invited to a group of mine. I may be inviting you to the coaching opportunity because of what it has done for me. I could be inviting you to a lot of things. So use it as an opportunity to get them to start having a dialogue with you. Target your audience. When I look at my posts, I really try to focus on that avatar of mine that I know is my ideal audience member, who's following me, who's watching me. And if you haven't created yet who your ideal audience is, who's following you, I definitely suggest you take a little bit of time and figure that out, because you want to make sure that you are targeting those people that you can help most, the bulk of the people that are following you, that you could really be influenced by who you are and what you're doing. Treat your posts as if you were talking to only one person. Guys, you need to look at it as this way. And don't get bent out of shape if you post something that you think is really bomb and only one or two people like it. Trust me, there's days where I think I have the most amazing post and I am so geeked to share it and it'll get like 3 likes. And then I put a picture of my dog up and it gets like 50 likes. And I'm going, come on, guys, like that was just not, that was a brainless post I put up of a dog just sitting on the couch and you didn't like it. But here's this great thought out thing. Don't get bent out of shape by that because guess what? If one person reads that post, one person hears about your past, one person sees how Beachbody has changed your life, and they reach out to you because they felt that opportunity to connect, guess what? Then your job is done because you want to help everybody you possibly can. But if you help one person, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. So if you write a post as if you're talking to one person directly and then multiple people start contacting you, guys, that's money. That's cash money right there. You're building your team. You are totally helping revolutionize challenges by helping people have amazing results and having great things happen to them. In turn, they'll be talking, they'll be sharing their story, and someday you're going to be talking to them about breadcrumbing. So I hope that helped, guys. Follow that easy process. Where you've been, where you are now, where you're going, think about it. It should be a very simple thing. You know all of that information already. But don't be afraid to share it with individuals, guys, and really, really take advantage of the fact that you have an opportunity to help people, to change them, to really bring them into a community that is so life-changing. It is incredible. Hope it helped, guys. Talk soon. Bye.